Hi guys, I hope you are doing well. In today's session, we are going to talk about another features of Python OOPS programming, which is Python encapsulation. And also we'll talk how we can implement encapsulation in the Python. So guys, everybody know that data play very important role. So we should prevent that being modified. So that's why we use encapsulation. Or in layman words, the process of wrapping some information into a single entity is called encapsulation. Fine. So in the OOPS programming, we can restriction on accessing variables and method directly using the encapsulation. So look at this figure. We have class and their methods and their variables. So here methods and variables are not just to keep them together, but also we need to protect them. Okay. So how we can protect using the encapsulation. Now I am giving you real life example. Let's say employee as an example. Each and every departments of employee records are restricted only within the respective department. Fine. Let's say admin department. Admin department cannot access the HR department employee record, or in the same way, HR department cannot access the records of admin department directly. Okay. So here the department act as the class and employee record act as a like variables and methods. So these things you need to remember. Look at this figure. Like how you are restricting me for taking a coins. See, you can have a coin, but you will have to use my method to get the coins. Nobody can access the coins directly. So let's say piggy bank is a class, and this class has an attribute that represents the number of coin in the piggy bank. So when I create an instance of my piggy bank, it means I don't want you or any other part of my application to be able to reach in and directly withdraw the number of coins. Let's say if I let you directly withdraw the coin, then what will happen? Everybody can take the coins, but we don't want give such type of privilege. So what we will do? So we will create a method like withdrawal money. So if someone have the access to use withdrawal method, then who can withdraw the coins only? That's it. So guys, once again, everybody know that data play are very important role. Okay, so we don't want to modify by some other person. Okay, so we will give you the privilege to a specific person and who only can withdraw the money from the piggy bank. Now let's go to the Jupyter notebook and understand the encapsulation concept. So guys, in Python we have three type of access modifier, which is public, private and protected. Till now we were using public modifiers. As we have seen in all the lectures of OOPS concept, we were using public variables, right? It means we can access those variables anywhere. Okay, so these things you need to remember. If you are defining a variable which is public, it means that variable or that method you can access anywhere. In the last video of inheritance, we were accessing all the methods and attributes out of the class, right? But the question is how you can restrict some of the methods and attributes from out of the class. So using the encapsulation, we can do that. First of all, I am giving you very basic example without the encapsulation, or we will see how we can access the variables and method outside the class. Let me define a class which is employee. And here I'm going to define the constructor. So simple init and self, I want name and age of that employee. So simple self.name equal to name, self.age equal to age. And apart from that, I am going to define a method which is display details. And here I'm going to pass my self argument and print self.name and print self.age, right? So simple, I have created a basic class. Now let me instantiate the class. So I'm going to take a object which is employee, and here I'm going to use the class name which is employee, and I'm going to pass the employee name and their age. So employee name is, let's say, Daniel, and their age is, for an example, 30. Okay, so now we can access all the variables using the class object. How? Simple employee.name and employee.age. Fine. Now the question is how we can restrict some of the information from the employee. So we will use private and protected. So here I'm going to type encapsulation using private members. Fine. So in the Python programming, single underscore used for the protected attribute. Protected attribute. These things you need to remember. And the double underscore used for the private attribute. So if we declare any variable or method as a private, then they can access only within the class in which they are defined. These things you need to remember. In Python, private members are preceded by the two underscores. Let me give you an example. So once again, what I'm doing, I'm going to define a class which is employee. And here, let's say I'm going to define the company name first. So company name is nothing, it's just a variable of my class. Let's say TCS. Okay, so what is this? This is nothing, this is a public variable. It means I can access this variable anywhere. Now here, I'm going to define with the help of double underscore, the variable name is group Tata. So here what it means. So these type of variables are private variables. Okay. So private variables are preceded by the two underscores. These things you need to remember. And here I'm going to define private variables. Now I'm going to define a method which is, let's say, get details, and here self. And self dot name equal to, I want to input the name from the user. So let's say name and self salary, right? So I'm going to define as a private variables equal to input and self dot name. Or let's say I'm going to have some information, this one, and plus your salary. Okay. Now self dot, let's say, programming equal to, I want to input the programming from the user, on which programming you are working. Now I want to display these details. So def display. So once again, print name, which is self dot name. And similarly, I will print remaining details. Salary, let's say self dot salary. H should be capital. And print programming name. Self dot programming. Okay. Now the question is how you can revise the salary. So once again, I am going to define another method. The method name is revised salary. So using this function, we can get or change the value as well. Okay. So first of all, I want to print the existing salary. So self dot and here salary, because I am accessing the private variables. How we can change? Self salary. Let's say I am changing anything, for an example, 60,000. The existing salary, we can assume, let's say 50,000, right? So print revised salary self, and we can access by this way. Okay. So simple. Using the two underscore, I have created the private variables, and these are the public variables I can access anywhere. Now I'm going to create an instance of my class, which is e equal to employee. Okay. So if I'm going to access, let's say e dot get details, right? So we need to input some of the information. First of all, we need to provide the name. Let's say Daniel. And here Daniel salary, let's say Daniel salary is 50,000. And on which programming Daniel is working? Let's say Python. Okay. So we can easily get the details from the get details methods. Now the question is how you can display those details. So e dot display. See what will happen. In this display method, I'm calling the name, which is self.name, which is normal variables I can easily access. But here I'm going to try to access, which is salary, which is my private variables. Okay, this one. So using the underscore, you can define the private variables. Now, see, So employee object has no attribute salary. So this kind of variables, you cannot access the directly, right? Now, in case I want to access the company name, easily I can access because I have defined this variable as a public. So how can I access? E dot company. Can I access the group? So E dot group. No, I cannot access. So same, we will have employee object has no attribute, which is group. So how can I access the revised salary? So E dot revised salary. So existing salary was 50,000 and the new salary is 60,000. How? Because I am accessing my salary with the help of two underscores. When you are accessing your private variables, first of all, you need to remember two things. You cannot access your private variables outside of the class. Okay. But in case you want to access your private variable in the existing class, then you need to use the two underscore deleting, right? These things you need to remember. So we have seen how we can use the private members. Now the question is how we can use the protected members. So guys, protected member can be accessed within the class in which they are defined and also in the drive class as well. In the Python programming, protected members are preceded by the single underscore. Let's understand protected member using an example. So let me define here a class. Let me change the class name, which is shape. First of all, I'm going to define the protected variables. So protected variables we can define by the single underscore. Length equal to 10 and width equal to, let's say, 20. What is this? These two variables are protected variables. Now I'm going to define another class, circle, and here I'm calling the class which is shape. So def, let me define constructor. So what I'm doing here, I want to print protected variables in my the drive class. So print self dot, and here I'm using the protected variables, which is length, and print self dot, and here width. So guys, easily access protected variables in the drive class. Now let me instantiate the class. Okay, so cr equal to circle. And when I'm going to execute this cr, see what will happen? It will give me the length and width because I'm accessing these protected variables in my the drive class. Fine. So when I'm calling the circle class, it means I'm going to print length and width. Now what will happen? The printing protected variables outside the class, which is shape in which they are defined. So let's say print cr, which is length. Sorry, cr. So here circle object has no attribute length. So it means you can access these variables into the drive class, but you cannot access the directly. Okay. In the same way, cr dot width. Right? But if you are accessing cr, this one, now you can access. So guys, here you need to understand one important concept. First of all, Python does not have real protected method. So one underline in the beginning of a method or an attribute means you should not access this method, but this is just a convention. I can still access the variables with single underscore. Okay, so these things you need to remember. So guys, let me summarize this concept once again. Encapsulation provides security by hiding the data from the outside world. So how we can achieve the encapsulation in Python? Using private and protected access members. And also you can define private members by leading two underscore and protected by leading single underscores, right? And guys, encapsulation ensure data protection and avoids the access of data accidentally. So I gave these particular examples so you can note down these examples and you can practice so that you can easily understand the concept of Python encapsulation. In case do you have any question, please let me know in the comment below. So guys, thanks for watching and have a great day.